Morning. I'm going to do a quick tour of the allotment today, just to show you what's what and what's where. And I'm going to start at the back so the sun is behind me, otherwise it will make the screen very dark. So I'm going to start here. This is the very end of the plots, on the plot 54 side, and this is the new compost bay that I started constructing and haven't yet finished. Often the way with me. I still need to put bark down, but I'm in no rush for that. My wheelbarrow parking bay, I've got a few. There's a few more around the corner as well. This greenhouse here is what I affectionately know as my tea and chill greenhouse. That's where I tend to sit when I need a break. Now these two greenhouses are what I tend to refer to as the engine room of the plot, because this is where I do 95% of my sowing. Don't use it for anything else. I don't grow tomatoes or anything in them, just purely for sowing. Now this greenhouse has been modified purely for growing strawberries. So it's just a greenhouse frame that's been covered in a square wire mesh to keep the birds and the rats out. This area still needs tidying up. I've got quite a few of these over the allotment, areas that need a little bit of work, but I've got the rest of my life. Now this greenhouse frame that has been covered with debris netting is what I use for brassicas. So I tend to grow cauliflower in here, primarily because the debris netting affords a little bit of shade and helps protect the curds to stop them yellowing as they start to form. This is another area under construction. As you can see, I've got 5 beds, and these beds will be completed, and they are mainly for growing things like butternut squash, crown prince squash, and the one at the back is going to be filled and turned into an asparagus bed. The rest of it is the new home for my bits of timber. I still need to get bark down, but again, I'm in no hurry. Now these beds here are what I will use to plant beetroot. So there are 4 of them. That's a lot of beetroot, but we like beetroot. Swinging round, this one here with the frame on it is where my runner beans grow. Now I know there's a bit of a thing that you should never grow them in the same place, but the soil gets dug, it gets well manured, and I've been growing here for about 10 years and they seem more than happy, so I'll continue that way. These 2 beds will be for dwarf French beans. Again, I grow quite a few. They do crop well, but they also freeze quite well. Now these 2 beds are where I grow my carrots and parsnips. Well, I will be this year anyway. Now both of them have been deep dug, and the soil had been sieved down to a depth of about 30 inches. So there's plenty of room for parsnip roots. The bed in the foreground is where I grow sweet corn. So it's quite long, probably about 13 foot long, and it's wide enough to allow me to plant 4 rows of sweet corn. Now that is a lot of sweet corn, but between what I eat and what the rats steal, I still get a reasonable crop. This square bed is where I tend to plant out my celery. It's quite a big bed. I only put 5 or 6 plants in, but it gives me enough room to be able to branch them up to ensure I get nice long white stems. The one behind it, well, I'm not quite sure what's going in that one yet, so I need to have a good think. I think this bed is quite obvious what it is. It's where I grow onions. I've got some more sets that are rooting at the moment, and they will fill the empty space in the bed, so that will give me enough onions around end of July, beginning of August time to store for the winter. The one at the back is another parsnip bed. Now you probably think that's a lot of parsnips, but both my children, when they come round, like to take parsnips home, so I'm happy to do so. Now this bed here is where I grow miscellaneous salad, so lettuces, radishes, spring onions, that kind of thing. Mainly because it's partially shaded by the netted tunnel beside it, and because I'm south-facing, I do need to afford a bit of protection to lettuces. Now this is my raspberry bed, and as you can see, creeping buttercup started to show its ugly face. Now I can't deep dig it to get rid of it at the moment, and because at the end of this year all these canes will be dug out and replaced, because they're about 12-15 years old now, and I'm going to just keep pulling it back, just keep knocking its top off. And as my granddad used to say, never let it see Sunday. Well, I've probably missed that a few Sundays, but that'd be the aim. Now this is the important greenhouse. This is where Shadow lives. So she's got her 2 beds and also her feeding and water bowls. She's taken this over, so I don't really need the space at the moment, so I don't try to get rid of her. And right on cue, she decides to appear. Now this mass of weeds used to be where I grew my chives, and you can see that some of them are starting to grow already. So I shall let them do their thing this year. I'll hand pull out some of the weeds, the ones I can separate, but then I'll dig it all out next year and start again. Now this bed here is where I grow my French beans, or depending what I decide on, it could even be climbing Belotti beans. But these are grown on the total opposite side of the plots to where the runner beans are grown, and that's purely because I don't want any cross pollination. I just want to keep them true to what they should be. This long thin bed, when I say thin, it's about 3 foot wide, is where I will grow courgettes. Plenty of spacing, but most importantly close to the water butt, because courgettes do need a lot of watering. Now these beds here and over there are what I use for miscellaneous odds, bits and pieces, but I will probably stand some pots on this one that has first early potatoes in. Again, because it's close to the water butt, it makes life easy. And when you grow potatoes in pots, you do need to make sure you water them well. So just to conclude the growing spaces, this is a 6 by 3 metre netted tunnel, and it is where I grow 99% of my brassicas. Plenty of cabbages, Brussels, kale, you name it, I'll probably grow it in there. This tunnel doesn't actually have anything growing in it. It's got some pots with last year's strawberry plants in, which were the donors for my runners, which I planted in my greenhouse with the wire mesh on. But I've got to get around to covering that this year, but it's a job I will do when my wife is here and able to help me. Now this is my memorial plum. Memorial not being the variety, but in memorandum of my late father-in-law. Just before he died, he asked me to plant him a plum tree. I did, and he never got to see it grow. It's actually a Victoria plum. No prizes for guessing what this is. I showed you this a few weeks ago when it was just breaking the ground, and it does grow very quickly, and I think the rain that we've had recently helps, and also the sunshine like we've got today. But also it had a very good feed with manure at the back end of last year. I had a senior moment earlier when I said I couldn't remember what was going in this bed, and it suddenly dawned on me, this is for leeks. Now this is a nice sweet apple tree. Don't ask me anything about it because I don't know. I actually bought it from a casualty bay. I think it was Home Base. And when I bought it, I paid 99 pence. But it's been there about 10 years and it does okay. This is another apple tree from the casualty bay. I think it was called Red Falstaff. But it gives me a few apples. This is another small Victoria plum. I get a few plums on it, not a great deal, but I'm not too worried about that. The main reason for growing trees along this line here is just to give a bit of privacy. And I don't mind if the birds take them. Now this one is a Bramley apple. I think it's about the only tree I paid full price for. Got some lovely apples off it at the end of last year. So he's looking forward to the end of this. Now I can't do the allotment tour without introducing the Christmas tree. Started off about 18 inches tall. It's probably now 9 feet tall. Now this collection of sticks is actually my hazelnut bush. Doesn't look nothing at the moment, but trust me, once he starts going, it will go. Now this little apple tree here, I think is called Blue Moon. An unusual name for an upright red apple. It was gifted to me, so let's hope it continues to do well. So that concludes my walk around areas, or area 51, across plot 51 and 54. And finally we have the conference pear trees. They do need a good prune, but I've missed the opportunity this year. So first job next year, give them a haircut. I hope you enjoyed the tour, but I've got plenty of this to move. So until the next time, bye bye.